The American dream isn't a destination, it is a 7-level system of evolution. Let us begin at the very foundation of understanding what the American dream signifies in its essence: the pursuit of prosperity, opportunity, and personal fulfillment within a societal framework. At its core, the American dream is an intricate system, which is a dynamic and evolving set of mechanisms that transforms individual aspiration into collective economic vitality. It is rooted in the principle that through effort, innovation, and strategic adaptation, the individual can ascend from modest beginnings to attain a level of economic sovereignty that not only sustains their own life but also contributes to the broader societal fabric. Every journey begins with a simple spark of aspiration. For most, it starts with a side hustle, something born out of necessity or desire, a small project or venture that tests the waters of economic independence. Think of it as planting a seed in fertile ground. This initial step is often driven by a recognition that traditional employment no longer suffices, or that a unique idea could flourish outside the confines of conventional systems. It's about leveraging whatever resources are available, like time, skills, or network, and taking that first crucial step into the unknown. At this stage, success hinges on resilience, grit, and the willingness to learn. It's about transforming a hobby or a small gig into a sustainable income stream, setting the foundation for upward mobility. Once side hustle gains momentum, the next level involves building a more structured approach to managing resources like time, money, and knowledge. This is where discipline and strategic thinking come into play. It's not just about earning more, but understanding how to allocate what you earn wisely, like savings, reinvesting, and managing risk. During this phase, access to capital becomes vital, whether through savings, microfinances, or community support. Real-world examples abound: small entrepreneurs in emerging markets who, through microfinance initiatives, expand their ventures and gain control over their economic destiny. This is the stage where the individual begins to see themselves not just as a worker or consumer, but as a creator and steward of their financial future. Within a stable base, the focus shifts to growth, scaling the venture into a sustainable enterprise. This requires a strategic mindset which is not limited to understanding your market, identifying competitive advantages, and optimizing operations. It's about positioning yourself in a way that makes your enterprise resilient and adaptable. Think of tech entrepreneurs who start with a simple app, but through strategic partnerships and data-driven insights, expand their reach rapidly. Success here depends on continuous learning, agility, and the ability to navigate competitive landscapes. It's also where risk management becomes critical, like balancing expansion with financial prudence. Level 4 is where you stop working for money and money starts working for you. At this stage, we understand how to leverage systemic forces like financial institutions, legal frameworks, technological infrastructure, and other things that can accelerate growth. It involves engaging with larger networks like investors, mentors, industry ecosystems that can propel your venture beyond local or niche markets. This is where structural leverage, such as strategic alliances or regulatory advantages, becomes a game changer. For example, startups that utilize government grants, tax incentives, or public-private partnerships to scale rapidly. The key is recognizing and strategically utilizing these systemic levels to transcend limitations that threaten to cap growth. At this level, the journey becomes less about linear growth and more about innovation. Here we reinvent our approach in response to changing environments. It's all about resilience, being prepared for disruptions, technological shifts, and market fluctuations. The most successful entrepreneurs and enterprises don't just grow, they evolve. They anticipate threats, pivot when necessary, and continuously refine their value proposition. Consider how companies like Amazon or Netflix transform their industries by constantly evolving and adapting to new consumer behaviors and technological possibilities. This level involves mastering the art of systematic agility, which means staying ahead of the curve while managing risk. As you reach the sixth stage, your enterprise or your personal financial positions begin to influence the broader system. You are not just reacting to institutional forces, you are shaping them. This could mean influencing policy, creating new markets, or escalating sustainable models that others can follow. It's about moving from being a participant to a participant creator within the economic ecosystem. Think of how Tesla has not only built electric vehicles, but also pushed entire industries towards stability, or how social entrepreneurs influence societal systems to foster greater inclusivity. Achieving this level requires a strategic leverage, deep networks, and a clear vision of systemic impact. The apex of this journey is economic sovereignty, where the individual or enterprise no longer depends solely on external systems, but actively shapes and directs systemic trajectories. This is the stage where you are a systemic architect rather than just a participant. It involves creating enduring value, influencing policy, and establishing a legacy that sustains future generations. Think of historical figures who have reshaped economies or cultural paradigms, on modern entrepreneurs who have established ecosystems that outlast their personal involvement. This level demands a profound understanding of systemic dynamics, an ability to innovate at scale, and a responsibility to ensure that the pathways to the American dream remain open and accessible for others. In unifying these levels, what emerges is a mental model of the American dream as a complex, adaptive system, a journey from individual aspiration to a systemic influence. Each step is interconnected, with early efforts building the foundation of larger systemic leverage, which in turn enables innovation, resilience, and ultimately sovereignty. Success is not a static achievement, but a continuous process of evolution, where strategic insight, systemic understanding, and resilience are the guiding principles. It is about transforming personal effort into collective progress, understanding that every layer depends on mastering the underlying systems while remaining adaptive and forward-looking. This is the true essence of the American dream, an ongoing dynamic process of growth and influence, one that can be realized through deliberate action, systemic awareness, and a resilient mindset. And as we reflect on this, we see that the journey is less about the destination and more about cultivating the capacity to navigate, shape, and sustain this ecosystem of opportunities for oneself and others. Take care of yourself.